Martin. How are you today? Ooh. Ooh. Hello. So welcome to the fourth episode of Copyscope, brought to you by Vitality Copywriting. You can find us at the website vitalitycopywriting.com. And so each week I come here to talk to you about copywriting, and so both to advise copywriters on tips and techniques, and also as a client, how can you get the best out of the content that you write for yourself. So today I'm going to be talking about thanks Martin, I'm glad to hear you're good. I'm also quite good, thanks. So today I want to talk a lot about how to get the most out of your relationship with a copywriter, and focusing in on what you include in a brief if you're going to hire a copywriter. Now this is a very important area, both for the copywriter and both for the client themselves, and it's one of those areas which I'm not afraid to admit that I've made some mistakes in my past. And I think it's important to note that this is a crucial element of the writing process, is really pinning down what the end product is going to be, what it's going to feel like, what sort of language are we going to use. And I've worked with clients before where I've felt that I've known them well enough that I could almost guess what they were thinking, and the end product turned out wasn't what they were looking for. So that's sort of why we need to have a good, clear brief to start off with, because what's in our heads is not necessarily the same as what's in the heads of our clients. Okay, so I'm going to run you through an example of the stuff which I personally like to include in a brief, and if a client I'm working with doesn't provide this information, I would want to be talking to the person who's hired me and trying to find out these answers, because it's really going to help me produce content that they want. Okay, so before I go into that though, what's the main risk of not having a good, clear brief? It's that you can produce a piece of content that is not what your client is after, but you can sit there and you can point out how it matches the brief you were given, but if it's not what they're after, they're not going to be happy with it. And so we need to look at what they're looking for and agree on that, and then we can write to that spec. Okay, so first things first is we set out a list of questions to be answered in the brief. So we want to know the name of the company and what they do. Do they sell products? Do they sell services? Are they a developing iPhone apps? Okay. But we want to keep this really simple and plain speaking. We don't want to use any jargon. We need to use plain language so that there's no confusion, no doubt about what terms mean. Again, we just need to get that clarity between the copywriter and the client. The next thing we need to know is how does the company help its customers? What benefits does the product or the service provide for customers? This is a core part of copywriting. A lot of advertising and a lot of websites focus on the features of their products, but features don't sell products, the benefits do. Because that's how your product is going to change people's lives. Does it make something easier? Does it make things quicker? Does it mean you can do more with less? Does it earn you more money? Does it leave your shoes shinier than anything else? So what features are, what benefits are we providing? And then following back to what I said in the previous copycast about calls to action, we need to have one main objective for this piece of copy. Okay. So whether it's a go to the website and place an order, or fill in this form and send it back to us, or call 0800 whatever the phone number is and speak to one of our team, we need to have that single clear call to action, that single clear objective. Okay. Once we've done that, what I would want to know is what's your unique selling point? What is it that makes you different to the rest of the competitors in the market? Why do I want to know this? Because I want to be able to put into the copy what makes you different, why your customers should be coming to you rather than going to your competitor down the road who's providing a same product but is doing it a bit differently. Do you offer a more personalised service? Are you cheaper? Do you include free delivery? Are you more available? Questions like that. What is unique about you that sets you apart from your competitors? And so after that, I'd also want to know, who are your competitors? And what use is that to me, you might ask? Well, as part of my job, as part of my research, I would be wanting to look at your competitors and see what they are writing about themselves. How are they differentiating themselves from you? And see if there's any tips there that I can pick up and use in writing for you, so that I can make this copy as good as possible. So I've got we've got, what does your company do? We've got, what benefits are there for your customers? What's the main objective or call to action for your content? And what is your unique selling point? And what is your who are your competitors? Now, what I'd ideally like to see is some sort of evidence to support out everything you've told me so far, whether it's testimonials, whether it's reviews or awards that you've won, things like that just show me that give a bit of credibility to your product or service. Now, this might not be possible if you're launching a new product, or if your company is new to market, but where possible, we'll try to get some evidence to back up what we're going to say about it. Okay, so moving on, we need to now look and define who is your audience. Okay, so if you have developed an audience persona or avatar within your company, that would be really helpful, and I would ask to see that. If not, something that I provide as a copywriter, I will talk through how we develop that as part of an added value offering and help you to develop your audience avatar. So what we want is basic, sort of straw man customer. So who's your typical customer? Are they a 30-year-old man with an iPhone? Are they a young mum with 2 kids? Are they a couple who are in their 70s? But also, let's also think, if you're in a business-to-business sense, are they the finance director of a small or medium enterprise? Are they the marketing manager of a top 500 company? And this is going to help us to tailor the words within that copy to the person who's most likely to be receptive to that. But we're not just going to focus on our main target audience. I'd also like to know, do you have any other audiences that you'd like to reach with this? And I wouldn't make a guarantee that we could reach 2 audiences with the same piece of writing, but at least if I know that information, it gives me a chance of being able to investigate whether we can tailor it towards two different audiences. So we've got about the product, we've got about the audience, and now we need to look at what's your tone of voice, how do you like things worded? And this is a crucial element, because, as I say, if this goes wrong, you can write a piece of content that matches the brief, but it might not be what your client is looking for. And so, from a client perspective, you might receive a piece of content from a copywriter that matches what you asked for, but it's not what you're looking for. So when I talk about tone of voice, what am I talking about? Well, your tone of voice is how you talk about your company or your products or services. Do you use a conversational tone, or are you more professional? Do you use passionate language, or is it more hopeful? So I've done a lot of work in the charity sector, so I've written a lot around passion and inspiring hope. And so, the language you sort of use in that is slightly different to if you were running a tech company, where you'd be more focused on results and technical language. And so it's really clear to get that distinction up front, so that your copywriter can spend his time tailoring that language. I can guarantee you it's not likely they're going to get it right first time, but any guidance that a copywriter can have over the tone of voice and how you talk to people, it's going to save time further down the line. Because even if we've got that agreed, so say your tone of voice is conversational, does it come across as too chatty? You've then got different degrees of conversational, and it's those nuances that you want to spend your time revising around, rather than whether it's conversational or not. So if we get the tone of voice up front, then that gives us more time to work on the different nuances around that. Okay, and then just to wrap up, the rest of what I would need to know in a brief is things like deadlines, budgets, so that I can plan the actual piece of work itself, so that I can make sure that I deliver you with a quality piece of content that will help you generate more sales, or more click-throughs, or more visits to your website, or make people pick up the phone and call you. Okay, so I don't have any audience questions with me this week, but I hope I've been able to help you think about what you need to include in a brief if you are hiring a copywriter. I'd like to thank you for listening so much. I do like answering audience questions. It's just a helpful way for me to know what you want me to talk about. I really love answering them, so just as a reminder, if you want to ask a question for next week, you can send it to me on Twitter using the hashtag Copyscope, or if you go to the Vitality Copywriting website, vitalitycopywriting.com, leave a comment in the blog post for that, and who knows, next week maybe I'll be answering your questions. So thank you for watching. That's it for today. I will see you next week. We're going to go to a new time and a new day. I've been trialling this Wednesday at 1 for the last 4 weeks. I'm now going to move it to Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. So I'll see you next week, Tuesday 7 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, for the next episode of Copyscope. So see you then. Bye for now.